Hi, everybody, and welcome to my channel. I'm Allie at Heart and Soul Connected, and I am so pleased to have you all with me here today. I am going to talk about a topic that I absolutely love. It's a combination of spiritual enlightenment and higher education pursuits, and how those two may work together in tandem, or that higher education might be able to be a key to its spiritual enlightenment. Do you need a higher education in order to be spiritually enlightened? No, you don't. You don't need it. You don't need it. You can do what we got the gifts. We were given the gifts when we came to this planet, and we all have the ability, some easier than others, to channel, to have intuition, to understand the cosmic ways of the world. But we may not have had the experience with other people in that venue. Higher education allows us to be more open to new ideas. And that's why sometimes there are people who believe that it's somehow dangerous to us. I don't see the danger. I see the ability to critically think. I see the ability to understand concepts that regular up through 12th grade would give in order for you to understand. It's been a long tradition for education in the past to include spiritual development. Socrates, Plato, all of the Greeks, philosophers, they taught astronomy, astrology, and thinking, the ways to think and the ways to become curious. So for centuries, it's been seen as a key to unlocking our professional success or our financial success. And yes, if you're a doctor, lawyer, teacher, all of those things, then you need the credentialing in order to do something like that. A nurse, any of those things. But there also are pursuits you can take in order to learn other things. And you don't necessarily need higher education. For instance, if you own your own landscaping business, what is it that you need to know? You need to know how to do that. You may need some business classes. But so I'm not really pushing the idea that everybody has to have a higher education. But I do want to talk about how it can be another key to spiritual enlightenment. As we pursue knowledge and degrees, we are also on a path to discover our true selves and also the mysteries of the universe. If you're wanting to learn more, let's say in the biological system, how our bodies work, how other animals work, or how their biology is developed over time. There's that. Then there's astronomy classes. You can learn about the stars and the planets. And there's math classes that can teach. There's humanities classes, which I brought as well here before. And so all of those things sort of work in tandem with the idea that you can then be curious later, perhaps, of how your spiritual development can come along and how you can learn about the mysteries of the universe as well. Most of us have been led to believe education is just preparing for a career. And while it is, and it's, it can be a lot of money, it's not just that. The common perception is that education is purely academic, focused on imparting knowledge and skills that we can use in the workforce. We are often taught to analyze, critique, and solve problems. Are we encouraged to also explore the deeper questions in life? If you're not taking a philosophy class, if you're not taking a psychology class, if you're not taking a humanities class, you may not have that available to you. There's a lot of people now that work in the STEM industry, and so it's more assigned to those higher educated minds. And sometimes we really need them to also understand that there's more than just that. The narrow focus on academics can lead us to a sense of disconnection with our own inner lives. What is the meaning of existence? What's our purpose? These questions are often relegated to the realm of philosophy or spirituality, but they do stand in the heart of our educational journey. They really do. The curiosity factor. If you read literature or great books, you can see how others have lived their lives, and you can also learn and grow from those experiences. I'm reminded of one written by Tolstoy back in the 19th century called The Death of Ivan Ilyich. And it is actually a book that is read in doctors read it as a philosophy, because what it does is it talks about the death and dying process, not as a clinical idea, but as an idea that what we go through, how we feel, and what experiences that we may see as physicians, nurses, etc., of people in their dying days. So it's almost as if we are living two separate lives in many cases. Sometimes we have a lifetime of logic and reason, and sometimes we have a lifetime of intuition and emotion, and they can be married to each other. They can work together in tandem. The curiosity can come from both sides. You learn something that you're interested in about, and then you also learn something that's more about yourself or your interactions with others in the humanities. It's interesting to note that many educational institutions are starting to recognize the importance of holistic learning. They're incorporating courses and programs that focus on mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and social responsibility. But there's a long way to go in fully integrating spiritual and philosophical inquiry into educational systems. And right now, there's a lot of people that are bucking the tide of such things because there's a fear of young people using that critical mind and maybe being against those who think differently. But if we're not allowed to use that mind as to the mysteries of life and what we're interested in, there's always going to be a hidden or a missing component, something that we just don't quite get because we haven't had the opportunity to try it on. Higher education can be a powerful catalyst for personal growth, critical thinking, and self-discovery. This is why it's so wonderful that young people go away to college as well in order to break away from nothing wrong with their parents, but just learning how to live on their own and how to exist in a much bigger world with people of all different races, creeds, thoughts, and ideas. When we're exposed to diverse perspectives and ideas, we're forced to challenge our own assumptions and biases at that time. This can lead to a deeper understanding of the self and the world around us. By exploring the human experience through literature, art, philosophy, and more, we can gain a richer understanding of just what it means to be human. And isn't that who we are and what we are? And don't we want to coexist with other humans in a very positive manner instead of a very negative one? Through this process of exploration and discovery, we may begin to experience a shift in our perceptions, a kind of awakening that allows us to see the world in a new light. This can be a really, truly transformative experience, one that opens us up to new possibilities and new perspectives. An idea that has been brought to mind is a story of a young woman who pursued a degree in philosophy, only to find out that it led her to a deeper understanding of herself and the world. She began to see the interconnectedness of things, and she also could see the impermanence of life. In other words, we have a certain amount of days that we're here on the planet, and why do we want to waste them doing something that's not aligned with our belief system? And I love that. The realization had an impact on her and her spiritual awakening and led her to be more mindful and compassionate in her way of living. Higher education is a wonderful place to have this opportunity to grow in this way. It would be more wonderful if we could start at the kindergarten level or the preschool level even, where children can feel safe in an environment of mindfulness and meditation, learn how to express themselves more openly and understand what it is their emotions are telling them and how to deal with those emotions, to embrace others and not see themselves as separate, but as a part of a community, and to learn and grow and live together. But if that can't happen for whatever reason, we should not take this away from higher education. We should know that there are ways for us to open the doors to a higher spiritual realm as well as an intellectual realm. This can merely be through the classes that we take and the interest that we develop in finding out things that we never ever knew before. And this is where the curiosity becomes lifetime curiosity, where learning is so important. It doesn't end at a certain time or a certain place. It encourages us to share and learn and grow together and share the experiences that we've had in order for us to realize that we are not unusual. We are part of the whole, and that really we're just a drop of water in an ocean full of wonderful folks who also are trying to understand their role here on the planet. I'd love to hear what you have to think, what you are thinking about these experiences in your own journeys or in your own personal journey to education. If you read the autobiography of Malcolm X, you will learn that once incarcerated, Malcolm X started by reading a dictionary. After he learned all the words in the dictionary and what they meant, he then started asking for more books to read. This was a time in the 60s when you didn't have the availability of all these things, the internet or anything else like that. He came out of his incarceration as a fully educated man in all forms of education. He was self-taught, and when asked what university he went to, he said, books. So there's no excuse. You do not have to go to college, but it is important for you to keep learning. It helps you and keep growing. It keeps the gray matter chugging along as you get older, and it brings you a new understanding of the interconnectedness of all of us, of all of life, and how history works with philosophers, and how once we know better. Thank you so very much for listening, and I hope you have a beautiful day.